0.
Weekend confirmed.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Hey there, weekend confirmers, weekend conformists, weekend confarmers, maybe even a couple of weekend confemales, possibly. I'm here with your question of the week this week. It comes from Twitter, and it comes from @VanDeventerdan. Van de Venterdan. Probably what it is. And he wrote this specifically to me. He asks, given that Jeff, yours truly, loves board games, what's his take on Matsuno's new game? Of course, he's referring to a game that was just announced from the designer of Final Fantasy Tactics, which, of course, is a strategy, turn-based kind of dealio. And it is very applicable to board games. And his new game, while only released in Japanese, or at least the information is only in the Famitsu magazine in Japanese, so I wasn't able to actually read the information. But according to NeoGAF's translation of said information, it seems to be a tabletop-style role-playing game, trying to emulate D&D, tabletop D&D, with dice rolls affecting a lot of your combat and actions that happen in the game. They're trying to simulate the idea of having a DM, or Dungeon Master, at the table making decisions and having skill-based dice rolls affect the outcomes. And even in the pictures from scans from the magazine, there is images of virtual dice. Interesting, I say. I am a huge D&D fan. I'm a huge tabletop fan. As you know, I'm a huge board game fan. Love the dice rolling. Here's the thing about dice. Incredibly fun, I find, in tabletop games. I love dice rolling. I could recommend 1,000 great dice games. Not as fun rolling virtual dice. It's just the way it is. There's something tactile and fun about rolling dice. When you see virtual dice being rolled on a computer screen and you just, click X to roll dice, and then it goes tick, 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 dice. Not as fun. It's just a random number being generated inside the CPU, so there's something less visceral about it. So right there, it's already less than. The way I think board games can influence video games, and they used to a lot more than they do now. Now we're in such an action RPG world. Everything has to be action RPG, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love me a good action RPG. But when I grew up, the video games I loved, the computer games I loved, the role-playing games I loved, very much did emulate that tabletop style in their combat. Ultima, Might and Magic, Wizardry, the D&D, like Pools of Radiance, the old gold box games. They all had turn-based combat, and they had turn-based combat that wasn't that Japanese role-playing style, which I do indeed love, Final Fantasy-esque. But this is a different kind of turn-based, chance-based, dice roll-based, moment-to-moment, turn-based type combat. And I long for a return to that. I'm having so much fun playing Hero Academy, which is a turn-based competitive game, and in combat, very much a board game, combat based on a moment-to-moment, move-to-move. I have 3 action points. How do I spend them? Very board game, very Summoner Wars, there's a million board games I could mention. So I love that style, and I hope that this game emulates that, and I certainly have a lot of faith in this designer. Final Fantasy XII he helped design, Vanguard Story. I love Final Fantasy Tactics. Great game. So I hope that is what this is going to feel like. I'm not exactly excited about the virtual dice rolling. It just seems arbitrary and less than, and so that I'm a little worried there. But thanks for the great question, and I'll see you next week.
I don't know.
Well, everywhere for all these games.
North America and Europe are considerably different markets than it is in Japan, so only time will tell to see how well it does here. But Microsoft does not have any plans to get into the handheld market anytime soon, and I know this because I actually asked Phil Spencer, who is one of the heads of Microsoft Game Studios, if this was a plan of theirs, and I talked to Aaron Greenberg.